Introducing the first in a new modular rhythm series from 10 Phantom Rooms, MR1 Valve Data. An innovative modular tube drum machine loaded with inspiring sounds and sequences. Morph, shift and transform beats like never before, with intuitive performance controls and real-time shaping to find your unique sound, at a pocket-friendly price. With hundreds of drum, glitch and noise samples and over 150 presets, the performance features include extensive macros, snapshot morphing and primary channel parameters, all accessible in Contact 8 and mapped to NKS hardware controls for on-the-fly parameter adjustment, fingertip macro tweaking, preset audio previews and much more. The MR engine takes standout features from previous 10 Phantom Rooms libraries and applies a new sequencing matrix with a suite of tempo-synced performance controls. The randomizer and mutator get you creating fast. Then grind your beats with supercharger compressor types, burn distortion, and pump for rhythmic movement of space and echo tails. As ever, the architect behind these sounds and controls is pro sound designer Tobias Menguza. Original sounds have been hand-manipulated through extensive modular and outboard gear and feedback loops. Many unique glitch samples are up to 10 seconds long, ripe for slicing and dicing with sample start sequencing and ratchet glitching. MR1 Valve Data pushes vintage drum machines of yesteryear into uncharted territory, transcending genres and production techniques and always sounding fresh. Let's explore. The main page is where you'll spend most of your time with this library and has essential sound shaping controls. The best way to get a feel for the breadth of beat types and modulation possibilities is by browsing the 155 rhythmic snapshots and morphing through the A, B and C sound variations. Usually tied to the mod wheel. The variations mix the 4 channel levels, panning and 8 macros. Best of snapshots showcase a cross-section of Valve Data's unique rhythms, tagged into drums, SFX, and music. We're playing at a locked 110 BPM here, but of course all beats can be tempo synced to your DAW's project speed. If you like the sounds and macros but want to experiment with the feel of the sequence, choose from an alternative pattern here, and save and recall your own. This charge selector introduces supercharged compression in a variety of different flavors, linked to the charge macro dial. These many and varied drum snapshots are subcategorized into broad tempo ranges and include just drum sounds. Trigger each of the 4 sequences simultaneously, or separately. With 1 key per sequence to create offsets between the 4. Use the uppermost keys to mute and unmute each channel. You can even play one-shots. There's a drums plus musical elements category, combining percussion sounds with occasional melodics or bass lines. Often these pitch changes are generated by the pitch lane in the sequencer page, but sometimes there are organic changes in pitch due to the hand-tuned nature of the longer samples, as sample start point is adjusted per sequence step. Many of these SFX sequencers are specifically designed to sit underneath main drum loops, or as separate unique elements in a song to create tension and a modular mood. This percussion can act as ever-evolving auxiliary sounds, top loops, or percussive ear candy, perfect for sprinkling throughout many different genres. Let's look at the basics of the MR engine, with many elements typical of 10 Phantom Rooms libraries, for example the sound browser. However, there are plenty of new features on offer, like the per-channel quick edit controls just here. You'll be familiar with the features of the edit page and FM transformation controls. But it's these central controls on the main page that make for quick and easy sound shaping. They're highlights of controls available across the whole instrument. Each snapshot consists of simultaneous sequences that can be played across 4 channels. Select a source sound for each channel by clicking the sound name and choosing from the browser. Sounds like kicks, claps, snares, and hi-hats are mostly self-explanatory, but all of the audio has been processed with complex hardware chains to bring out the best in the sounds. A couple more esoteric categories really bring the sequences of Valve Data to life, and these warrant a closer look. Percussions are seldom heard instruments, effected and mutated. Glitch machines and noise samples are up to 10 seconds in length, with a huge amount of evolution as the samples play. This means that creative use of sample start points in the sequences can make for some fun movement. By design, glitch instruments are more tonal and perfect for adding subtle melodics to your beats. Again, best used with sample start point sequencing combined with pitch sequencing. Use the dice icons to pick a random sound for each channel, or browse with the arrows, always chosen from the currently loaded category. The A, B and C variations are 3 sub-presets of a sound. With blending capabilities between macro parameter assignments, click into each or use the mod wheel to blend. Instead of variation morphing, tie the mod wheel directly to one or more macro levels, including the new burn and charge processing. To create a bespoke variation and save it, set each channel's level and the state of the 8 macros. Then save by clicking the small buttons here for A, B or C. New to the MR engine are the main page quick edit controls, with each channel accessible with its channel button, just here. You'll notice the 16 sequencer buttons for each channel. These are clickable on and off controls for each step of a sequence, akin to old school drum machines. Randomize these sequences here. Some rudimentary controls for sequence loop points can be dragged just here. Activate the Mutate button and then tweak the gate, skip and velocity ratio controls to introduce elements of unpredictability to these playback parameters across all channels. Engage mutation to keep your listeners guessing, with automatic ghost notes, skipped hits and gated rhythms. All of these main page sequence controls are just a small slice of what's available on the dedicated sequence page, including per channel control over mutation, humanization, pitch, playback chance, ratchet, sample start point and more. We'll dig into all of those options a little later. The cutoff, tune, decay and burn dials operate independently for channels 1 through 4, again selectable with the lights up top. You'll find these controls super handy for quickly changing the filter cutoff of a single channel, tuning a channel's pitch to match your project, shortening the decay of a sound, and introducing burn processing to saturate and crunch up the signal. A quick note on burn, one of the exciting new ways to process the sound. In the mixer window, navigate to effects and choose a different effect for each channel. Either bit crushing bite, analog distortion dirt, or characterful colour, with many presets available for each. This is a great method for thickening up individual elements of your beats. And, of course, the overall burn wet level has its own macro dial for automated morphing, determined by the values of each channel on the channels page, so lots of scope for creative sound mangling under the hood. In a similar way, the cut macro is the global version of the single channel cutoff dials, a bidirectional DJ style filter. Likewise, the time macro also affects decay, great for tightening up the playback and chopping off release tails. This is alongside being a control for all of the individual volume and filter envelope controls on the edit page, and the pitch envelope controls on the FM page. Let's switch pages and look at another unique function of the MR engine, and you'll find a new pump section. This is an LFO-based effect that modulates the returns of the space and echo effects. Just choose the preset effect here and dial in the mix intensity. This is tempo synced and is great for adding subtle drifting layers underneath sparse percussion or slap-back effects to more intense rhythms. For more granular control over the sequences of each of the 4 channels, head to the sequence page. Select channels across the bottom and program up to 16 steps for each sequence. For anyone who's familiar with drum programming, this page should be pretty self-explanatory, but there are some interesting playback options contained within the different lanes. A few options are the same for every lane. Bypass the lane with this icon. Reset to default with this one. Randomize with this one. The amount of randomization is set with this slider, from subtle to severe. Set loop start and end points across the top just here. Gate sets each sequence step on or off. You can set steps to skip during playback. Adjust the pitch of a step, either microtuning or semitone pitch modes. Drag or type in values. Playback velocity per step. Set the chance or probability that a step will play. Humanize the timing of a step. Select a glitching ratchet effect per step. The last lane can be switched to different modes, pan or filter cutoff. The third mode is sample start, a little bit special, and as some of these categories contain samples of up to 10 seconds in length with hand-mangled processing, this lane can be used to cut playback into the sample at different points. This creates unpredictable and inspiring sequences. We covered the Mutate function briefly already on the main page, but within the sequence page you can select it on or off for any of the 4 sequences, and independently set the strength for gain, skip and velocity. Just use the small dials to increase the mutation ratio. If you have microtonal pitch engaged, there's a mutation option for that too. The global settings are quite straightforward. Lock the sequences so that when you load a new snapshot, the sequence data is retained. Initialize all 4 sequences to default. Sync option syncs up the playback with your DAW. This disables the MIDI key triggers. Randomize all lanes of a sequence by the strength of the slider below. You can play any channel's sequence steps in a number of ways: forwards, backwards, ping pong, or random steps. Change the time base for half or double speeds, or a speed multiplier. Introduce swing per channel sequence, great for creating grooves and polyrhythms. Other pages contain a wealth of popular functions implemented across many 10 Phantom Rooms collections. You might already be familiar with these, assigned to various macro dials, from mixer settings for space and echo parameters, to edit options for filters and envelopes, right through to FM assignments for LFOs and the useful pitch envelope. MR1 Valve Data heralds the beginning of a new series for 10 Phantom Rooms lineup, with creative drum morphing at its heart. Quickly create deeply expressive rhythms with authentic analog flavour. Modulate with ease or use the comprehensive parameters to surgically shape your sound. Explore the creative possibilities via the audio demos at nativeinstruments.com. And thanks for watching.